Welcome back to Project 613. Today we continue learning the Torah's list of forbidden relationships, and we will learn the next 4 prohibitions on this list. A general word about the Torah's forbidden relationships is that when we examine this list, we find that some of the examples on this list seem so obvious to us. They seem so outright wrong. We are repulsed when we hear about them, and we wonder, why is it that God even has to instruct us to stay away from such behavior? Society itself understands that such behavior is immoral. On the other hand, the very same list contains some examples that when we read them, we wonder, why are such relationships forbidden? Why is God getting in the way of my choice of love? If I love a certain individual and I'm not harming anyone, why is that so terrible? Why is the Torah stopping me from engaging in this relationship? But the truth is that this really expresses the eternal nature of the Mitzvot of the Torah and of these prohibitions, in that they do not express the moral compass of any given society or the trends of any specific time. Rather, they are the expression of the moral code of the unchanging God. Just like God doesn't change, neither do his morals change. And therefore, throughout all times and over all generations, these are the relationships which God dictated to be the ones that his creations should engage in. And God, as the architect of this world and of man who he created in his world, has instructed us on which sort of relationships he considers to be okay. And that's why this list includes all of these examples, because they are not dependent and are not influenced by any given society or any specific time. Rather, they are an expression of the eternal God, who is higher than any time and doesn't change based on any given society or any given time. Now, for today's specific prohibitions, we have 4 mitzvot. Number 1, we have the mitzvah, the prohibition on a male from engaging in sexual relations with an animal. We have the prohibition on a female from engaging in sexual relations with an animal. Number 3, we have the prohibition of male homosexuality. And number 4, we have the prohibition of father and son homosexuality, and that means in addition to the general prohibition for any men to engage in homosexuality, we have specifically for a father and son, it's forbidden for them to engage in such a relationship. And if they do, they would be violating not just 1 mitzvah, but 2. Now, it's important to note when it comes to these relationships that the Torah does not address tendencies. The Torah doesn't talk about feelings and inclinations. Rather, the Torah talks about the behavior. So the Torah doesn't stigmatize someone who does have such an urge. Rather, the Torah instructs us how we should behave, and that even if a person does have such an urge and such an inclination, he is instructed by the Torah to withhold and not to engage in that act and that behavior. That is what's forbidden. It's the act that's forbidden, not the urge, not the tendency. And we believe that when the Torah gives us an instruction, the Torah also gives us the strength to be able to fulfill it. And even if for certain individuals this may be more difficult than for others, nevertheless, every single individual is given all the strength that they need to be able to fulfill all of the mitzvot of the Torah and to live their life in accordance with the will of the Creator of this world. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.